All right, looks like we are live. Is this thing on? What is up, Marlo? Happy Thursday. My guy Derek, good to see you as always. Hope everything's well. Did he have pets as a kid? Did he wet the bed late in life? I don't know. We're going through all his school records. So they have him attending Peru and North Miami. So I'm not sure when. I don't know if he was held back or what. But I think the first step to getting those answers is finding out who his classmates were, who were his friends around that age, things like that. And I think we might be able to get some answers if we ask the right questions to the right people. CJK, Glitterbean, Vincina, good to see you. Tam B, watching while my dad is in surgery, sort of my coping mechanism. This channel is my home away from home. Well, I hope his surgery is a success. Our prayers are with you. And thanks for picking this channel. I appreciate you. Anthony's in the house. What's up, Anthony? Good to see you. Tattoo, good to see you as always. I like the new logo. It's pretty cool. Beth, hey D, good to see you. Rory, hey yo. Leslie, good to see you. What's up, Andrew? Arch Lux in the house. What's going on, Arch? What are you up to this morning? I don't know. I'm feeling like $1,000,000 right now. Had my walk, had a shower, had breakfast, and I'm enjoying my cup of coffee in my San Diego Zoo coffee mug that was gifted to me. So we'll hang out for another 5 or so minutes, let people transition in, and then we will get into Richard Allen's hearing this morning. We'll get into the ballistics evidence, and then we'll get into who was Richard Allen. I did my best to find everything that I could on him, and I'm hoping either you guys in the chat can correct some of the information or add to it. We're going to quote sources. We're going to drop links. None of this, well, I heard, or my friend said this, and, she's usually right. None of that kind of stuff. We're going to do our best to really paint a picture here. What's up, Rescue? Rain Dancer Annie. Good to see everybody. Hope you're having a great Thursday. No problem, Tam. Thanks for hanging out here. I'm sure everything will be fine. Jamie? Nice. Hopefully you enjoy your day off, Jamie. Yep, Arch, me too. We're going to wait patiently. On that note, let's go ahead and take a look. This is something that was dropped by Channel 13 there locally in Indiana last night. I think it's titled What to Expect at Richard Allen's Hearing. See what they have to say. So I'm hoping we can kill some time, and then when Frank Meister gets out and he has some information, we'll try to take this live and join it over there with his for a little while. We'll see how that works. Arch, San Diego. San Diego. which means came home yesterday morning. I'm so happy to watch what I want and missed my bed. Good. Getting back to a little bit of normalcy. Miss Thang. Leslie, thank you. Yeah, don't forget to like the videos, subscribe, do all that good stuff. Jane from the country, what's up? Molly. Saying hi to everybody in the chat. Thanks for hanging out. Rain Dancer says, I wonder who else will be arrested. I mean, that's $1 million question right there. They didn't really get good footage of Richard Allen walking in. I haven't seen anything good, but they kind of get more of this reflection of him in the window or the door, the glass door. Man, he looks like shit. He looks bad. He looks even thinner than that photo they put out there. And I don't have any sympathy for the man. Yeah, I know you guys are going to say, oh, innocent until proven guilty and all that. That's for the courts, That's their job to make sure his rights are not violated. I can do whatever the hell I want. And right now, I have zero sympathy for the guy. Hey, Susie. Susie says, I expect his attorneys to try incompetent to stand trial and postpone this trial a lot longer. What's up, Maserati? Good to see you. Chad, like an energy here. Glad I caught this live. Now I have to throw my headphones on the bike ride. Nice. See, I had the 2-mile walk this morning, hanging out with my babe. She hooked up some breakfast. This is my first cup. I'll probably run down there and get another cup. But yeah, I'm feeling great. I hope you guys are feeling good as well. Bossy, Molly, Timmy, what is up? Arch is asking, how do we feel on Greenlee's cryptic prophecy? Which prophecy is that, Arch? Hold on. I think my wife's getting ready to head out. She has to go to the office today. Thank you, D. Appreciate you. Give me 1 second, guys. Come in. You look good.
Thank you.
Love you, baby.
Oops, sorry.
Have a great day.
You sure I look good?
Yeah, let me see. Might look too good. Wait, come here. You have a thread on the back. Coming out. All right. Love you, baby. What's up, Phil? Yeah, Ricky's going down. There's nothing going to stop that. Everybody's like, oh, this ballistics evidence and the unspent bullet and all that. Like, that's not enough. That's not enough. If it wasn't enough, they wouldn't be trying to throw it out. They're trying to get rid of that evidence. That's the whole case. Every time you heard law enforcement say, oh, well, there's information we're keeping close to the vest, that comes from poker players. They keep their cards close. They don't want you to see pocket aces or whatever it is that they get, what their hand is. Cindy, what's up? Thanks for the super chat. Hope you're having a great day. Arch says, he says to expect to hear something that will change the way we look at the case. So I wonder if they were successful in getting those documents that they were trying to get. or if while attempting to get those documents, they were able to fish some new information. They're good at that. It seems like they kind of intimidate law enforcement. Like, hey, we know where you're hiding all this information, and if you don't give it to us, in a responsible manner, who knows what we're going to do with it? They're like, oh, let's make a deal. So I think they're giving them feeding them little treats here and there to kind of fend them off. Because with Greenlee being an attorney, he knows what to do. He's not like some amateur sleuth. He knows the process. He knows what he's got to do to get those documents, where to look and who to ask. But Arch, that is interesting. Something that will change the way we look at the case. I wonder what that could be. Thank you, Leslie. Leslie with the super sticker. Appreciate you guys for supporting my channel. Yeah, when this channel really, really takes off, I'm not going to forget all you guys here that were at the ground level, because we're not going anywhere. The channel's just growing. Cindy says, just woke up late shift last night and need some coffee. Yeah, I think after this video, I'm going to go get a refill. Today's going to be a long one, guys. So strap in. Good to see you, Molly. Good to see you, Mary. CJK, good morning to you. Yeah, I thought so too. Yeah, it's strange. Did he make that prediction before his document request or after? Thank you, Derek. Derek with the super sticker. Give a shout out to Cindy, Leslie, and Derek for your support of the Sleuth Intuition channel. Susie says it's on Facebook. It's going to be a long day and possibly run into tomorrow. Well, that'll be the longest live stream I've had. I don't know. My fat ass can't make it past lunch. I'll be like, nope, got to get some food. Hey, Jill. Hey, my fellow Phoenician, 2007 whistleblower. Good to see you. Good to see you, Mary. Anthony says, Salute, the way you direct this channel is great. Thanks. I mean, if you guys just decided you weren't going to watch my channel, there would be no channel. I'm just here hanging out with you guys. I'm just glad that you want to. Yeah, these YouTube channels aren't anything without their subscribers. And sometimes you get so many subscribers, you feel like it's okay to lose a few here and there. Nothing will change. The two girls got murdered. Yeah, that's a good point. Is there a such thing as justice? I mean, justice for who? Yeah, the living feel better. We already feel much better, right? We're still alive. So who's the justice for? There's no justice for Abby and Libby. Maybe there might be closure. But what happened to them completely terrified me. I've never even stepped foot in Indiana, and what happened to those girls had shaken me to my core. And I think anybody with teenage kids, they know what I'm talking about. And the anger they feel for whoever did this. I have no sympathy for that man. Good, Rory. Hey, Tony, haven't seen you in a minute. So has court happened already? They're in court right now, from my understanding. We got some people, some boots on the ground. I know Frank Meister's up in there. He's going to give us a full report. Excuse me. He was the one that told us last time that Nicholas McClellan came up and just said in front of everybody in that courtroom, was like, hey, we believe that other people are involved here. And we can't drop the ball. And if you look at the way Richard Allen is charged, it's like he's only playing one part of this, or they can only fit him into one part, which is the kidnapping and maybe the moving and the staging part. But for some reason, they think somebody else is involved. And I would really like to know what that is, what that piece of information is, and why they believe that. More importantly, I think the people that live in Delphi and Carroll County should know. Because remember, Richard Allen was working at the CVS. He developed funeral photos for the victims. Like, has that really sunk in how scary that is? So if you have another killer running around, where is he working? What services is he providing to the families of the victims? Is he making their food? Is he coming in their home and exterminating their pests? Is he working on the yard? Is he the dentist? Is he the band instructor? Is he the soccer coach? Who is this guy? Richard Allen was right there. He worked in walking distance from the sheriff's office. Kelsey, one of the victim's sister, worked at a Dairy Queen that was across the street from the CVS. Now, how crazy is that? You're telling me he never walked over there on his lunch break? So if other people are involved, it's the responsibility that if they know who this person is or even have an idea, they need to say something. They need to do something about that. Mike says everyone wants the CSI like case all wrapped up with a nice little bow. Richard Allen is going down. This isn't television. Yeah, he's going down. He's done. He will be in prison for the rest of his natural life. In my opinion, there's no doubt about it. Molly says, yes, I saw the judge had the court reserved for 2 days. Wonder what all is going on. Cindy, I didn't see Tech. Where you at, Tech? I must have missed you. If I missed you in chat, I'm sorry. I'm all over the place. Thanks, Jill. Beach says, it's a great community here. Thank you, Beach. I had zero interest in interacting with some of the other true crime communities because it just wasn't worth the drama, but a lot of good people here. I agree. Thank you for that. CJK. Yeah, there's really no justice. We need to take more personal responsibility. You know, you got Garrett Kurtz. Oh, well, I was dating this crazy girl. She drove me to kill. You have to take personal responsibility. You right now putting those zip ties and whatever else in that bag and fantasizing about some girl and you're stalking her and she doesn't even know you. Just stop it. Just stop doing what you're doing. It's that evil. It takes a home in your mind and it starts feeding building this fantasy until it turns into a monster that you can't control. Nice speech. A little jealous. You definitely will, Anthony, and you're always welcome on the channel. I love having conversations with you. Is Greeno out of jail? Yeah, he's been out of jail. Pure evil. When people go and do these acts, that's all they are. You're just somebody that the devil was able to corrupt. You're worthless now. You're just a puppet. You know, just the devil sticking his finger in the holy water. That's all you are. Trying to tease God. You know, oh, you're precious humans. Watch how I corrupt them. Watch how easily I can destroy their soul. I don't think Bossy is there. Usually she lets me know, but I was talking to her over there on Frank Meister's channel because Deb and Ruckus are holding it down right now while Frank is in there getting the scoop. And she was in the chat. She didn't mention it. Hey, Trav. Hope you have a great day, Sylvia. All right, let's watch what News 13 had to say about today's proceedings. I think this aired last night or early this morning. I can't remember.
Tonight, attorneys are getting ready for an important day of hearings in the Delphi murders case.
Richard Allen will be back in court Thursday morning. He's accused of killing teenagers Abby Williams and Libby German back in 2017.
Our senior investigative reporter Bob Siegel tonight explains the key issues that will be decided during tomorrow's hearing.
There are four main issues that will be addressed at Richard Allen's court hearing Thursday. The first is setting a trial date. 13 News has learned that date will likely be set for sometime within the next 6 months. The second issue is a motion to suppress ballistics evidence. That motion was just filed this week by Richard Allen's defense team, and it focuses on evidence found at the murder scene. The state says they tested a gun found inside Allen's home and found that gun matches an unfired bullet found between the bodies of the teenage victims. Allen's attorneys have raised questions about the science the state used to link the gun to the bullet at the crime scene. Thursday, both sides will be able to debate the reliability of the ballistics testing so the judge can rule whether that evidence will be admissible. The third issue the judge will consider is whether Richard Allen should remain in a state prison while awaiting his trial. The defendant's attorneys say keeping Allen in a segregation unit at a maximum security prison has put Allen's physical and mental health in extreme jeopardy. They want him moved back to a county jail. The judge did not grant that request when she was previously asked to do so, but she will reconsider it tomorrow, both on the grounds of Allen's safety and whether keeping him in a maximum security prison is violating his due process and his right to a fair trial. Lastly, there will be a discussion about expert witnesses that Richard Allen's attorney want to hire for his defense. That part of the hearing will take place in private. The judge has to approve the defendant's expert witnesses because Allen's attorneys and any experts they hire are being paid for with public tax dollars. Now, the hearing at the Carroll County Courthouse is scheduled to begin Thursday morning at 10 o'clock, and it could last all
I read once the people in Peru understand 2 sketches, but the people in Delphi are clueless, not sure the meaning. Hey Tech, PCA is shitty. Hope they got more good stuff. I think all they need is that bullet and him admitting to being there. I think that's enough. He's going to prison for that. Or could. I think he will. I think this might be their last ditch effort. Like, hey, we got to try to get this thrown out. And if not, then we got to plead. We got to come up with a deal. Hey, Shimona V. Good to see you. GP. Boston. Ken Gale, Bloodlust activate. I mean, the United States of America is a country ran by the people. Like everything, every service that's provided should belong to the people. We're kind of like a bloodlust nation when it comes to information because it's owed to us. You know, it's not an entity that's operating separate. It's something there that we put into place so that they can report to us. Tech Death says, I go to every community, but I get kicked out of some because I like all with no drama. I like to watch the shitty train wrecks of 2 channels. I won't say. Yeah, it can be entertaining to watch somebody's downfall, especially when they're asking for it. Mary says, I'm sitting at the ocean listening, my happy place. That sounds wonderful, Mary. Watch out for them seagulls. Oh, yeah, Greeno is in Portland. I think that's where Gray Hughes is from. It's a little shady. Premeditated. This, in my opinion, was not random. That means somewhere are details of a plan, either in memory or digitally. Yeah, we're going to cover a case here that actually used an unspent bullet to convict this person. And some of the evidence they found was simply the victim's name was written down on a piece of paper in his home. And then they had an unspent shell casing. And then they had a ping on his cell phone. And that was enough to convict him. Growing Crazy says, justice, in my opinion, is getting these monsters off the streets so they don't take more innocent lives. I mean, that's great, but where's the justice? You know, there's still victims and destroyed families. There's no bringing them back, I think is my point. Yeah, is it good that they're off the street? Yes, but I think when it comes to that word justice, is there really ever a thing called justice? Is there prevention? Yeah, but justice, there's no justice for Abby and Libby. Justice would have been for the killers' heads to explode the moment they thought about this. Just exploded. That would be justice. Anytime, the second they came up with this plan, they just killed over and died. That's the only justice. Is just preventing it from ever happening. And we can't go back in time and do that. In that plan, somewhere, somehow, those girls were corralled there. Yeah, I believe that was a big part of the trap is that south end. But it would be very risky if somebody was home on the other side of that bridge, which they weren't. They were snowbirds. So I'm wondering if the killers had knowledge of that. You know, one killer says to the other killer, well, why don't we just lure them across the bridge? And then we can kill them down there on that side where we go hunting and fishing and stuff. Nobody's ever down there. We'll take them across the creek and we'll leave them right here. Yeah, well, what about that house? What if somebody sees us over there? Don't worry, they're snowbirds. I know them. There was always hope. Good morning. Begins today. How many matching points do they have on that casing? That's a good point, because there were also some cases that I found. There's only one that I think kind of matches this scenario. And the guy actually got let go. He was convicted, and then once they got better technology where they could match the strafes a little better, he was let go. So they have great technology that they can match these things almost 100%. It's not only by eye now. You know, they have something that's testing the actual elements that are there, and they can measure it. And if they have a consistency, then all they have to do is have an expert explain that to the jury. But I mean, from what I've read and what I've been reading, it's solid. It is 100% solid. And the fingerprint that the firearm provides is not just to a specific type of gun, it's to that gun itself. I might have a video where they explain it a little better. I hope. At least I thought I did. Oh, here's another one of Richard Allen. Then I'll find that video. Look at this guy trying to get the shot. Who is that? There's a freaking ass crack hanging out. Is that Noe? At least somebody tried to get the shot. We don't. Yeah, he might have that good shot right there, huh? Who is that? Oh, that guy has a beard. That guy definitely got a good shot. Oh, here it is. I had it in my unspent bullet folder.
Areas of focus in the Delphi investigation is a single unspent bullet found near the bodies of Abby Williams and Libby German in 2017. That detail revealed yesterday when a judge ruled to release a redacted version of case documents. WRTV's Rachel Wilkerson shows us what that single bullet could mean to this case.
According to the unsealed probable cause affidavit in the Delphi double murder case, an unspent .40 caliber bullet was found in between the bodies of.
Don't worry, I was just mumbling.
Abby Williams and Libby German. Unspent means it was never fired. That single bullet, investigators say, links Richard Allen to the crimes. An Indiana State Police Laboratory analysis on Allen's gun reveals the unfired bullet was at one point loaded in the chamber and had extraction
I haven't
marks
seen
on
her,
it.
Cindy.
Indianapolis gun expert and defense attorney Guy Relford explains how that happens.
When the slide comes back like this, a round is extracted from the chamber with what's called an extractor, which is like a little claw that actually hooks on to this protruding rear edge of the cartridge, pulls it out, and then the ejector sort of kicks it out of the ejection port.
What's up,
So
Johnny?
that claw, that extractor that grabs onto that little edge on the back of the cartridge can leave a little mark on the shell casing, even on an unspent round, through the process of extracting that unspent round out of the gun.
Testimony of a muddy and bloody man matching Allen's description. Audio and videos are also being used as evidence. Allen has pleaded not guilty.
So I thought that guy did a really good job of explaining it for anybody that doesn't really know. But now the science behind it is much more tricky. And we'll definitely be getting into that here. We're going to try to take things slow. Let me see. There was a comment I wanted to respond to. Oh, well. Yeah, I agree, Molly. Smart, appropriate defense move. I want him to have a good defense that's fair. I want him locked away forever. Yeah, there's no conspiracy. There's no, the family didn't do something crazy and they didn't reach out to people they know in the government and the local police, and there's no conspiracy here. The only conspiracy is whoever Richard Allen worked with. That's the conspiracy. Law enforcement didn't come and drop a bullet in between these victims. Like, if that's what you think, in my opinion, we are nowhere near each other as far as where we're at on this case. Because in my opinion, that's completely ridiculous. Is it possible? Yes. And if that's your opinion, I'm not, I'm not throwing shade at you or anything. I'm just saying, take a second to think about what you're really saying. Yeah, CJK, that it should be. We're losing sight of what this country is and what it's all about. Molly, I wonder if 2 days because of a lot of witness for chain of custody of the bullet, experts on the Sig Sauer, and the bullet, chain of custody on the Sig Sauer, etc. Maybe. I don't know. I mean, why would they have witnesses and stuff like that? So that's news to me. Unless the judge wants help making a decision about something. Westeros will. Yeah, he lost a ton of weight. What's the weight of the bullet of a rifle? He needs to gain that much weight, not in body, but more so between the eyes. Of a rifle, that might go all the way through. What is up, Camaro? Hey, Chopper. Who is he? This guy talking?
areas of focus
He
in the
is some
also be
gun expert.
Misfire.
Precedent. Allen has pleaded not guilty to the murders of the girls. Records show he admits to visiting the Mo9 High Trail, but doesn't have an explanation for the bullet.
So it could be a malfunction of the gun. It could be a
His name is Guy Relford. Derek says it's personal, or at least a weird fetish this killer or killer has, in my opinion. It seems a game of cat and mouse could possibly have taken place. Yeah, there's a huge... The whole motive of all of this is just... I mean, I have nothing. That's where the conspiracies pop into my head, is when I'm trying to figure out, like, how could somebody do this? Why would you do this? Why would you risk your entire life to do this? Why would you take 2 lives, innocent lives at that? How is a grown man... I mean, if it's anger, how does a grown man get that mad at 2 kids? So I don't lean towards anger. Unless it's anger mixed with another powerful factor. That's a good question. There is always hope is asking, did Richard Allen make copies for himself of the photos the family took? I believe he did. What was in the shoebox? Family would have never known he made additional copies. No, nobody would have known. Because on the photo machines, they have what's called a ticker. Kind of takes inventory of everything. But you have a lot of waste that comes out of those machines. You know, you get halfway through somebody's photos, you realize you ran out of chemicals halfway through. And half of the film is good, the other half is not. So you just throw those out. Nobody's keeping track of that. Hey, Michelle. CJ says, the BG, Allen, lost weight due to no beer, no pizza, gel food, which he's not eating much of by the photos and stress. I'm not sure if it was true, but I did hear at some point he may have been on strike, like on a hunger strike. Yeah, there's no bringing him back. And you got to ask yourself, what the hell? Why did you do this? Why would you do this? And then you even have the chance of them not explaining why they did it. It makes my head it gives me a headache just thinking about how something like this is possible. And then trying to understand it. Jerry Holman said, this monster will do it again. I believe it is only because of the video why it stopped. They had to be careful from now on. And they could have done it before. There's a lot of unsolved cases. You got Jordan Sofer smack dab in the middle of Wabash and Peru. You know, what happened to her? Detective Burgess told me personally he believes that she was killed and dumped there. Yeah, maybe, huh? Jeannie Smith, who is the Daily Mail source? Daily Mail has an article just released by saying Richard Allen, KK, and Ron Logan involved. Let's take a look. Let's see, 2 hours ago by the Daily Mail. Delphi murder suspect Richard Allen to appear in court. Is this the one? Oh, this one was released 1 hour. Gina, can you go ahead and let me know the title? Yeah, it doesn't look like it's this one. Yeah, because that'd be interesting. I am finding online, and I haven't verified it, but the records that I'm showing, that Richard Allen, his wife, who was Kathy Walker at the time, and Tony Klein did go to school together at some point. It looks like they bounced from Peru High School to North Miami, which is in Denver, Indiana. And I believe Richard Allen and Kathy Walker were class of 91 from North Miami, but they both attended both schools, according to online records. So there's a connection right there. And also, I was talking with somebody that lives out there and knows all those people in those places, and said that the Kleins' parents and Richard Allen's parents used to live right down the street from each other. And this is coming from somebody that graduated with these people and went to school with them, and saying they all used to hang out on 2nd Street right there in Peru. Everybody. And they were all friends. So there's your connection right there. So I think this is going to get very interesting. And if we can get some solid documents tying them together, I think it'll just make it that much more interesting. Hey, Katsy. Kay Weber's son was not home, but I believe he was staying there. I think he got home like around 4:30 from Subaru, I believe. So he worked the early shift. I believe there was 2 shifts. I was talking with the Julian Powell guy and he's from Logansport, and he worked at Subaru, and he was explaining it like they work in 2 shifts. There's an early shift and then there's a later shift. And I know that on the 14th, when they discovered the bodies, it was about 4:00 when Brad Weber got home, and I believe they took him in for questioning, and they searched his property like crazy. They were looking for some kind of baklava. Is that how you say it? Some type of headgear with a short bill on it. But while they were questioning him, they had people from the FBI out here in Phoenix meet up with the owners of that property. And we're asking if they had permission to search it, questions about Brad, the property, cameras, and all that kind of stuff. So it was a really big deal, and they played a big part of the investigation. I don't know if they're still part of it. Thank you, Anthony. Big Fish, just wondering why California and New York are wanting to put identifiers on guns if it's already 100% accurate. Well, because if they can create the gun with the identifying markers, they can put it into a database. That way they don't got to go searching for the weapon. If they find the casing, boom, they just throw it in their machine. It grabs it. It reads the elements of the metal. It reads the percentages and the depth of the striation and all of that stuff. So in a lot of guns, they already do that. They shoot a bullet. They take a microscopic image of the markings on it, and then they file it with the serial number. So anybody that purchases that gun from hand to hand, if they commit a crime with it, there's a likelihood that they could easily get arrested for that. But that's not all weapons. They want to do that with guns where they give it a specific fingerprint so that they could put it into a database and run it much easier. They don't have to go track down the weapon like they did with Richard Allen. Like they had their markings on that bullet, but they needed a search warrant to actually go and get his gun. They couldn't just ask him for it, because if they did, he would know that they're looking for his gun, and all he would have to do is melt it down, destroy it, take it apart, and leave it scattered across Indiana. So they had to keep that information very tight. But yeah, if they can get that fingerprint put into a database the second it comes off the shelf, or before it gets put on the shelf, it'll be much easier. So I think it's a great idea. And they already do that to a certain extent on most weapons as far as firing the gun. But now they're going to go ahead and do something with the extractor and all that stuff. I think it's a great idea. I was reading about that. I'm glad you brought it up. All right, guys, I'm going to be right back. I'm going to go refill my coffee. Be like 1 minute, 1 or 2 minutes. Yeah, let's see if there are any updates. That's a good idea. Give me 1 moment. See if anybody's reporting out there. I don't know if they will have a criminal trial for Richard Allen. I hope not. I hope that he makes the deal first, kind of gives them everything that they need. Well, I know that they have fingerprints. They have fingerprints and DNA. And if it was belonged to Richard Allen, they would be screaming that from the rooftop. Because there's no reason for them to even bring up the shell casing. But they're going to bring it up because they have their man, and that's powerful evidence against him. They want that information out. There's no reason that they would keep the fact that his DNA and fingerprints were found at the scene. And not only that, his charges would be different. And that could be the reason they think others are involved. Like, they know he's the kidnapper. They know he's the guy, the reason that they ended up dead. But did he physically do the act? They can't prove that, but they can prove he's the guy on the bridge, the guy with the gun, the guy saying, go down the hill, or guys, down the hill. They know he's that person. And they also know they ended up deceased shortly after that. So he's going down. The only question is he going to give us anything? Let's see. JLR Investigate says they ushered him through a different side entrance. I'm wondering if, and I know that they did report that they were going to bring him in through a certain entrance. Maybe everybody didn't get the memo, and they weren't able to get a good shot of him. There was an article that Fox 59 or WRX linked to where 13 professors petitioned the court saying that it's not reliable. Yeah, there's a group out there. I think it's called the Innocence Project. And it's a good group. And there should be counterweights to everything, right? There should be a balance. But these guys haven't had a chance to look at it. So what are they petitioning for? You know, it's just this kind of weird advocating for somebody that is most likely guilty that I don't understand. People out here saying, oh, Richard Allen didn't do it. Corrupt cops did it. Like, to me, you're a meth head. If you say something like that, your brain is mush, in my opinion. I'm not taking you serious. Is it okay to talk about? Yeah, you know, the possibility that you have a conservation officer involved and, you know, law enforcement's planting, you know, magic bullets and all that. Like, yeah, is it possible? And if you had one shred of information that even backed up that theory, I would be right there with you. But I think at this point, we need to get a grip. We need to get a grip on reality, especially if you're trying to help, you're trying to put out information. I mean, you have whole channels devoted to accusing Kelsey of this crime. And you guys are all subscribed to it. Remember that. So I don't want to hear any of this emotional manipulation from the chat. Because you guys, yeah, I love your facts, Sleuth. And then as soon as you're done here, you go right over there and you comment on why you think the crazy Kelsey conspiracy. So at some point, you guys got to realize that the subscribers are the channel. You guys are YouTube. It's not, you know, the weirdos like us that are up here giving you our opinions and all of that. You guys are YouTube. So you need to take responsibility as well. Thanks, Katsy. I appreciate it. We're learning and we're growing as we go. That's all you can expect, right? We started out knowing nothing, and now we know a little bit, which is more than we did when we started. We learned a little bit about sensitivity, not letting rabbit holes fall in behind you. And spreading misinformation. The whole, like, you might be confident in something, but you don't know it for sure. But because you want other people to believe you, you kind of give it a little spin, like, oh, I saw documents, or I know for a fact that this is true, and then the people that trust you, they go and spread that information, and then you find out that, oh, wow, I was wrong. Well, that's why you shouldn't have been spreading information that you weren't sure about. Or at least say, I'm not sure about this. It could be a rumor, but I heard this, because you're human. We all like to talk. We can have a discussion. But when you're spreading fake information, it could be really hurtful. But do what you want, I'm just telling you. You can't complain and then participate. I'm not going to do it. Rain Dancer says, I'm no gun expert. I hope the prosecution has good arguments. I don't know if this is a valid corpus delicti. Yeah, and I was reading a lot. If those markings on the casing are nice and deep on the one found at the crime scene, then it's going to be very easy to prove that it came out of that same gun. Because every weapons expert will tell you that every individual gun has a fingerprint. It's just the way that the metal is made. They melt it down into molds. They shave it. They carve it. And on a microscopic level, there's going to be imperfections there. There's going to be air bubbles. There's going to be holes. It's not going to be just perfectly laser cut, You have to melt metal down, and it doesn't melt perfectly. There's going to be certain areas where it just doesn't quite fill in the mold or wasn't quite shaved down the way all the other guns were. Each gun has its own specific identifying markings. Not different, from the markings that come out of the similar guns. You're going to have those markings are going to look a lot alike. But when you zoom in on it and you have these machines that are picking up on the elements and providing you 100% factual information on what is existing with this shell compared to this shell, they're going to be able to compare it if they have a good sample. There are some cases where the samples were not so good, and they actually had the judgments overturned. Thanks, Derek. 190 watching and only 40 likes. Sick in the head. Just deviant. I mean, I just don't understand. I just don't see a single person, one man, just saying like, okay, I could kill today. Somebody like that you think would just kind of cruise around looking, like your typical kidnapper type, the little lurker who's parked up the street waiting for the kids, to come running to the ice cream truck or whatever. Why wouldn't he do something like that? Because he has a plan. He has a plan, and that plan involved, if not both, one of those girls. And his plan involved that bridge. And it involved the south end of that bridge. Everything was planned out, in my opinion. Yep. He wasn't mad. It seems like choreographed. It was even and planned. I agree. Why do it so close to your house? That's another good question. Why is he so motivated? Why do it so close? Why do it in your own hometown? Why do it a mile up the street? Why do it a mile away from where you work? Why do it in the middle of the day? Why do it at all? This guy is highly motivated, and I just want to know what the hell would motivate somebody to do what he did, when and how he did it. I mean, if he wanted to kill, okay, how about in the cover of darkness, like a Kohberger? They wear the night. They wear it like a costume. They can walk anywhere they want because they're covered by that. not him, not these killers. They're motivated. Now, that's where like numerology comes in. It's the 13th at 3 p.m. Were they trying to do something that had to do with crossing the bridge? You got to cross the bridge. I know Lupercalia. I just don't understand what is motivating this guy. Did it have to do with numerology? Did it have to do with some type of occult beliefs? Was this a ritual? Were they motivated by money? I just don't understand what motivates somebody to commit a crime in the middle of the day after you were witnessed by multiple people, saw you, and you drove your own vehicle. It's almost like the timing was urgent. If you want this, now's the time. If you want to accomplish this goal, you have to act fast. You're going to have to make sacrifices on this end to accomplish what you want to here. Now, if this is about power to you, to me, that either anytime you're, an adult and you're abusing a child, you're invoking your power on them. So, and I don't think it's that obvious. Why would they say that? Like, obviously it's about power. You just killed 2 other people. The power was in your hand. That's obvious. But why say it? And why say it in that manner? We know that this is about power to you. Okay? But why say it that way? So yeah, we can speculate all day on that. It's up to Richard Allen to go ahead and give the family some answers. Why did you do it? Tell them why you did it so that we can prevent this from happening to somebody else. Have you done it before? What's a broody drunk? Is that like sloppy? Like somebody that's always just drunk? Derek says, chilly in Michigan last few days. That sleuth hoodie is working overtime. Yeah, thanks for getting that, Derek. Repping the crew. I appreciate that. Ray says, I'm number 71. Nice. Courtney, why did they make the height so tall on the wanted poster? The teen said he was her height, maybe a little taller. Has to be one of the shortest men to live or work in Delphi. Yeah, I think that video almost hurt as much as it helped, unfortunately. It was very misleading. Law enforcement, they were just too vague on this. I just don't understand why they didn't take the time to find a consensus on this information. Because when they first put out the older looking sketch, they said 5'6" to 5'10". Now we know why they stopped at 5'10", because the witness says definitely not taller than 5'10". So, okay, we know that. But where did the 5'6" come from? Was one of the witnesses who said, oh, well, he wasn't much taller than me. Was she, 5'4", 5'3"? Where are they getting that number from? But 5'6" is definitely more accurate than anything I've heard before. Leslie says, how long could CVS be able to keep work schedules? 5 years seems like a long time. Yeah, I'm sure they have a system that does that. You got to keep that all computerized for W-2s, people requesting W-2s from years back, just things like that. It's all computerized. It might even be a third-party system. I don't know. Like a ADP or something like that. Hey, Bossy. Jill says it's sad how long he got away with this. In my opinion, I think they knew about him for a long time. And I think all these pressers and all these weird things were specifically for family members that know he's involved. And maybe they know he didn't do the physical act, so they've somehow been able to convince themselves, like, hey, he was a victim too. If he didn't do what he did, they would have killed him too. And us. They're always trying to justify it, because what's the ladder? The ladder is, I no longer have my family. I no longer have my job. My daughter and her new husband are going to be extremely embarrassed. I mean, think about what's going on with that poor guy. The new son-in-law. He's in love. He found a love of his life. He's like, my new parents-in-law. They're a little strange, but I'm so happy. And then boom, something like this happens. I mean, it's just a tragedy that just never stops. You're gonna have grandkids. I don't know if I'd be talking about their grandfather. So now the grandkids don't have a grandfather because he's a piece of shit murderer. It'll never end. The family name is tarnished for forever. You can try to erase history. In most cases people are able to, but it's still there. Molly says, I thought that Kathy went to the same high school as TK. They did. They went, according to records I found online, TK went to Peru and Miami. So I don't know if maybe Miami was the only school and then Peru or vice versa. I'm not sure, but they're both registered at one point at both schools, North Miami and Peru. All of them. Richard Allen, Kathy Walker, Tony Klein, all of these people. They went to school together and they're only about 2 years apart. And from people that went to school with them are saying that they did know each other as kids, that they all hung out. Now, as adults, they don't know. But on 2nd Street, they definitely knew each other and they all hung out. So anybody that lives out there, has any information, went to school with them, let me know. We're trying to get as much information as we can about who this person was. Hey, Bruce. I don't know if KK does. I think Richard does, though, for sure. KK might, but I have a feeling he's just a tag along. Like, he might not even know what these guys are up to. Hey, Ruby, 197 on chat and only 70 thumbs up. Yeah, you guys can do better than that. All right, let's see if there's any new updates here.
Counts of murder in the deaths of Abby Williams and Libby German. But today, a judge is set to rule on what comes next.
Their big story of the day in less than 4 hours, key decisions in the case against Richard Allen.
So right now, we know he's charged with 2 counts of murder in the deaths of Abby Williams and Libby German. But today, a judge is set to rule on what comes next in this case. Let's get to our Samantha Johnson, who is live in Delphi this morning. And Sam, you are planning to be inside of the courtroom in just a few hours. What can you tell us about what's on the docket today?
Yeah, we're going to break down exactly some of these key decisions coming up in just a minute. I also want to mention that this downtown area is now starting to come to life really in just the last few minutes. The police presence has increased. K-9 officers have already come through the scene here. You can even see a few people already lined up to make sure they get their spot inside this courtroom because there are big decisions on the docket today that will shape the future.
I think I see Randy. He's so tall. I think that's his head popping up right here. And I think he said something to Richard Allen's attorneys like, you guys are actually early today or something like that. And baklava is a pastry. Balaclava is a neck and face. If you guys have been watching my show, you know I struggle with that word and I don't know why. I think I like baklava. I think I like saying that so much that it's like I'm trying to change the word or something. I'm not sure.
Of this case moving forward, and one of them that this community has been waiting for a long time. Judge Francis Gold is expected to set a trial date today, and we have learned that this could actually happen by the end of the year. We're talking about Richard Allen going to trial in the next 6 months. Also on the docket today, there's a
Big Fish says it only gets striation from firing it. That's not true. From it traveling through the barrel. That's not true at all.
motion to suppress ballistics evidence in this case, and that motion actually just came this week from Allen's attorneys, who say right now they question the science used by the state to connect a gun found inside Allen's home to an unspent bullet found with Abby Williams and Libby German. So today, Judge Gall will consider whether to keep that evidence when this case heads to trial. Now, we also know there is a private meeting set for today for the judge to talk with the prosecution and defense about bringing in expert witnesses that Allen's attorneys want to hire for his defense. The judge...
Well, we know law enforcement was in Kay Weber's house, definitely looking for baklava. You know? No?
has to approve those witnesses because when they're brought in,
Greek
they're paid
donuts?
for a public tax dollar. So that is a private
What's up, Brett?
conversation that will happen later today. That public hearing is set to get underway this morning at 10 o'clock. We also anticipate there will be a conversation about whether or not Allen should stay in a state prison or be transferred back to a county jail. You can read more about the details of that motion right now at WTHR.com. We, of course, do plan to be inside the courtroom.
Oh, and also you can also compare magazines. Those leave striation marks too. So whenever you put that bullet into a magazine, you can match that casing to that magazine as well. Even the magazine has its own thumbprint. Okay, Colette, good to see you. Yeah, Jenny Smith says, I don't take Daily Mail info seriously, though. I mean, they do report on what they hear. They're not just making it up. But everything they hear doesn't necessarily make it true. But they do try to break the story. And I think that's why they get the reputation, because they're not doing their due diligence. And I don't think they care. But a lot of times their information is good. But sometimes it's not. So, yeah, take it with a grain of salt. Me, myself, does anyone experience anxiety from coffee? No, but sometimes I get the jitters. Sorry if that was loud. I just banged the mic a little bit. Michigan is rich in Greek food. I just want to thank Cindy Lean again for the $5 super chat, Leslie for the super sticker, and Derek for the super sticker. You guys are really doing a lot for the channel. If it wasn't for you guys and just the people watching and hitting the thumbs up and subscribing, there would be no channel. So you guys make everything work, and you make this the machine that is this channel operate. You're the gas. You're the gas and the grease. Oh, and we have a super chat. Hey, Courtney, thank you so much. Someone stood between Richard Allen and investigators. Someone got between KK and that prosecutor. We forgot to forward the email with the CP evidence. Interesting. They just stepped out for a break. Here, let me go check in on Frank's channel real quick. I'm going to see if he's going to buzz in over there. I would like to know what he's saying.
Ruckus, and we'll go live again. How's that?
Sounds good.
Perfect. Sounds perfect.
All right, guys. Thank you. All right. See you guys in a little bit.
Later.
All right. Let me rewind it. It looks like he came
Yeah.
on just for a
Know
second.
what mess smells like, Don?
While they
Oh, here he is.
logically dealing with that, and they also, there may be something we don't know. Maybe they had no idea that there would be other actors involved. And so while they see this person arresting, now the story sounds bigger to them. And I'm sure they met with law enforcement before and found all this out. So I think it was a lot.
Yeah, if you
to
guys
deal
aren't
with.
subbed
I
to
don't
Ruckus
think
Rocks,
that they
Deb's
were
True Crime Notebook, or Frank Meister,
disappointed.
True Crime
I
Talk
think
with
they
Frank
were
Meister. Make sure
in
you do.
shock and dealing with past feelings. Oh, somebody's coming in.
Here's Frank. Let's see what he's got to
There he
say.
is.
It's me. It's
Hello,
me.
sir.
What's
We're
up,
not
brother?
even close to being over, guys. It went from a suppression hearing. They're resetting the suppression hearing, and they went on to the bail hearing.
Okay.
Can y'all
So
hear
they're
me?
doing the bail hailing.
All right. So you heard him. Frank's looking pretty good there. Thank you, Derek. They're saying he made an admission. He made admissions. Holy crap! Really? Cindy, thank you so much. Grease is the word or the bird. Frank said they're doing a bail hearing. Thank you, Marbles. Yeah, they're gonna. Yeah, I wonder why. Just to get it over with. I mean, you have to have a bail hearing. Sleuth is hands down my favorite channel. Look forward to becoming a member soon. Thank you, Mike. That was nice of you to say that.
For that hearing today, and we will have updates for you throughout the day, both on air and online at WT.
Let's see if there's any other reports coming out. See, good thing we got Frank there. They're taking lunch. Thank you, Jill. Yeah, we're going to see this case all the way through. Yeah, I love Deb too. I love Deb and Ruckus. Frank just said that. He called in. They're on recess right now. So they're going to cover the bail hearing today. Give me a second. I'm going to try to find, because I know there's some mainstream media out there as well. Let's see if they did like a quick little update. And if you see anything, feel free to let us know in the chat. We'll take a look. No, doesn't look like anything new. Lauren says his attorneys are trying to argue his admissions were due to his mental issues. Of course, they say that. Makes sense why they shared that photo of him in jail. They were playing games. Yeah, and they got an uphill battle. They got to play the cards that are dealt. David Rogers says even with the possible release from the joint, yeah, I don't think they're not going to release him. And if they did, yeah, they would just find something new, but he's not going anywhere. He'll never see daylight again. Yes, and he was looking good. Hey, Kels. Well, here's Ruckus. Here, let me post a link for you, Ruckus. If you want to call in real quick and let us know what you're hearing. We tried to tune in over there on Frank's channel for a second, but we didn't look like we got very much from him. Here, feel free to use that link if you want to call in and let us know what's going on. Yeah, I saw both of those, Lee. Thank you so much. Well, I have both of those pulled. We'll probably watch them here in a second. There is always hope says currently debating if he should be moved to a different facility. Ballistics continued. They're not going to rule on that today. What the hell? Both McClellan and Rosie said he admitted things. Wow. That's great news. That is great news. Yep. And if your boots on the ground out there and you want to call in and just let us know what's going on, even if it's just for 12 seconds, that'd be awesome. We'd appreciate you. A simple argument would be if they claim Richard Allen was so regularly drunk that he didn't know the date or time. He walked the trails but had no idea what day or time. Sure, Ruckus. And you don't have to. I know you've been busy all morning. I know you just did like a 2-3 hour live stream because I was watching you for 2 hours this morning. I don't want you to feel pressured. Feel free to let us know in the chat. Got a couple emails coming through as well. Let me take a quick little peek at those. Thanks. I'll take a look at that email here in a little bit. Appreciate that. Yeah, I suffer from allergy migraines. And if I take medication, it only gets worse. So I just got to kind of tough it out for like a month and then it'll subside. Your opinion don't mean shit. Good morning, all. What hearing did I miss? Richard Allen has a hearing this morning. They're trying to get the ballistics thrown out, and it sounds like they're doing a bail hearing too. Me, myself, they're always debating moving Richard Allen. That makes me nervous because I don't trust his attorneys. You know, they're connected with Archie, and Archie's connected with all that. So, I mean, if you want to get into some conspiracies, why not get into that one? Like, what if Rosie wants him to come back so then they can do something bad to him and then he'll never speak again? You know, then that's it. Now it really is an unsolved case forever. There's a conspiracy for you. Is it based in reality? No. Not even close. But it is interesting. And it's like candy for the brain, you know. Some people get addicted to that conspiracy candy. It's a hell of a drug. Conspiracy is a hell of a drug. Rosie says can't be trusted because mental health. That's a good argument. But damning for his case. Like, bro, why'd you do it? Why'd you talk? I'm glad he did. I'm glad to hear that he's talking and that he wants to let this information out. Free yourself from it. Let it go. Do your time like a man. Try to salvage any relationship with your family that you might have. Admit what you did was wrong. Beth, where are you getting this information? Or is this just being reported from people that are there, boots on the ground? If so, I appreciate you guys for providing that. I would just like to pull it up on the screen and read it verbatim. Oh, is that what you're referring to? He admitted to being on the bridge back on February 13th or 14th. That kind of stuff? Bossy says if he's confessing, then they should unseal some things. Stop the wild conspiracy channels. Also, it may mean someone else could be arrested too if involved. Well, the reason they have it sealed is because they're trying to find out who else was involved, or they're trying to arrest who else was involved. And as far as the conspiracy channels, they only exist because you guys, the subscribers, allow them to exist. I don't blame them. Denise, I would like to hear what she had to say about it all. Oh, Lord, I need another drink. That's funny. Sorry about that. I keep knocking this mic around. There you go. Productive day. TK got away with all kinds of stuff because he knew small town cops. I'm not saying conspiracy or corruption. No one intentionally did anything wrong. Is that the clerk or the conservation officer? I'm not sure. I just don't think we've heard the last of TK in regards to all of this. Hey, Silas. Update is, it looks like they didn't make a decision on the ballistics, but I'm pretty sure they're not going to throw that out. I mean, can't throw out the entire case. And then they may, according to Frank, they might entertain the bail hearing, which is good. Get it out of the way. No bail for you. There, that's over. Anna says this whole case reeks of reasonable doubt. I haven't seen any reasonable doubt yet. I mean, the guy's there at the time the girls were murdered, and his bullet was between the bodies. To me, that is damning. And that's why they got to get that bullet evidence out of there. Because once that bullet evidence out there, he's just another hiker who never tried to hide it. But with that bullet being there, it is all over for him. Thank you. Let's see here. I was just sent an email. In court today, Richard Allen appears to have made incriminating statements connecting him to the murders of Libby German and Abby Williams. Prosecutor said he made an admission. Defense team says these admissions can't be trusted due to Allen's mental state. More coming. Thank you for that email. That's very interesting. Yeah, I mean, you have to have a bail hearing in every case. Whether you're going to provide it or deny it, it needs to be on record. Rebecca says, I get horrible allergy headaches. Heaven help me if a storm rolls through, if I have one. Yeah, they suck. But I found when they were really bad, instead of taking allergy medicine, just take like an ibuprofen, an anti-inflammatory, because that's why your head is hurting. Because the something going on in your nasal passage and the little, I don't know, like a membrane or something that covers your brain, that swells up a little bit too, apparently. Hey, Olivia. Oh, his wife was in court. Thank you, V. It's not ongoing. It's usually just during spring when I get hit pretty bad. Yeah, they're not going to give him bail. Yeah, I feel like if you don't take it, let your body do its thing, it'll kind of work on the problem for you. It's when you create that dependency, on that medication. The body's like, oh, we don't need to use our resources. We're being provided, with what we need right here with this medication. If there is proof, this is from CJK. TK, just where does he fit into all of this? If there were proof, then he'd been arrested. He's such a creep. I don't think he's involved in the murder, but CSAM, but on Keegan's devices. Yeah, and that's what I'm referring to. If Kagan's in jail, and if what Kagan's saying is true, then he needs to be in jail. Just go back and read all the horrible things that were found on Kagan's phone. Art says it may be via another inmate. That is likely what the letter to Gaul was. Yeah, that happens a lot. Especially if, let's say you're in solitary confinement for your own safety. You're just going to want to talk with somebody, And some of these prisoners are really good at like getting other inmates to talk. If you're not familiar, if you're not a lifelong criminal and you come in there, I think it'd be pretty easy for some of these lifers and some of these long-term inmates to manipulate somebody. Facebook group just posted he is saying he is guilty. Could be BS, but it was just posted. Yeah, that's very interesting. I hope that he's talking. Just let it out, man. Get it over with. Salvage whatever's left of your life and just face your punishment. You deserve it. Face it and put an end to that nightmare. And if there's anybody else involved, you would be doing a great service, Start undoing some of the pain that you caused and help law enforcement get these other actors if they exist. Yep, the truth will set you free. Let it all out. I mean, that's what's killing him. Nothing else. Whatever's making him sick, it's the information that he has. And he knows that he owes that information to those families. I think we're going to learn a lot about who Richard Allen is as a man over the next few days here. And we all know he's a piece of shit anyway, if he's the killer. But we'll see if Doug Carter was right. We'll see if he has a little ounce left in him. You got it, Silas. Yeah, thank you, Beth. If anybody gets any more updates and you want to shoot me an email, like Beth did, that was very helpful. I'll read it again here. And it looks like this is being posted on a group. In court today, Richard Allen appears to have made incriminating statements connecting him to the murders of Libby German and Abby Williams. Prosecutor said he made an admission. Defense team says these admissions can't be trusted due to Allen's mental state. More coming. What up, bloke? Wagwan with you. How you doing, man? Good to see you. Any updates on Rick? Well, I think they're going to do the bail hearing. They touched on the ballistics, but I think the breaking news right now coming out is that Richard Allen may have made an admission. I don't know yet. It's not confirmed. It's just kind of being discussed. I didn't hear anything from Frank. He's there. He called in, didn't really speak on it. But if anybody can find any updated information, it appears that he may be trying to talk. The same thing that's making him sick is probably the reason why he wants to talk. He wants to get it off his chest. Hey, Bogey. Yeah, his statements are valid as long as he is not declared unfit. I wonder what he said, though. What is he saying? Is he giving names? If he's talking, yeah, they're definitely not going to trial. Yeah, that does make sense, Michelle. Trying to control the narrative. Lee, hey Lee, Wish TV talked about Richard Allen making admissions per his lawyers and prosecutor. Now, what admissions are they referring to? Because I mean, he made admissions that we already know about, him being at the bridge. Mandy says, but his mental state was sound enough to be gainfully employed shift manager with CVS for years. That doesn't jive. Yeah, not at all. Let's go back to Twitter because we know all the journalists that are there are going to post to Twitter first. That's why I keep going here. Let's see here. Beth says, so did the murder sheet already know this? Was this what their cryptic message meant? Yeah, they've been doing some digging. They might be the ones that broke that information because we saw that they were going to meet with the judge about something. And I think that murder sheet they were going to see if there was any loopholes that they could exploit. Maybe there was improper filing of the request to seal the information. You know, if they could find any weakness in how the procedure was done, they could exploit it and maybe get their hands on it. And if they can't get their hands on those documents, maybe they can fish some information. Good tact by Greenlee over there. Good morning, Sparky. Well, happy early birthday. Good. Maybe you'll get a good birthday gift. Oh, here's a bird's eye view. I haven't seen this one yet. Let me see who this is. Sierra Hignite. Do you guys know Hynit? Let's see what she put here. Drone video shared with me of Richard Allen being escorted into the courtroom. Fox 59, CBS Indy. Let's take a look here. Yeah, and I can totally see somebody, let's say you're falsely accused and you're under all this stress and you don't really understand what's going on. Somebody really did set you up, you know what I mean? You're all stressed out. And then you next thing you know, you're out of your mind and you're confessing to the crime. I'm not saying that's what happened, but I could see something like that going on. But I think he's just ready to talk. I think his illness has nothing to do with psychosis. It's him facing all of the fears that he's built up in his mind for the last 6 years. His worst fears are being realized. It's making him ill. Okay, so while we're waiting for let's go over some of these pieces of information that I pulled for you guys. Okay, ballistic identification or ballistic fingerprint. This is from efsgv.org. Every firearm leaves unique, reproducible markings on each bullet and cartridge case it fires. These markings function as a ballistic fingerprint. Today, ballistic fingerprints are inadvertent but unavoidable byproducts of the way most guns are made. In the near future, however, identifying marks will be intentionally designed into each firearm. Ballistic identification is the use of a ballistic fingerprint, whether accidental or intentional, to identify the specific gun that fired a recovered bullet or cartridge case. Understanding how ballistic identification works requires basic knowledge of what happens inside of a gun when a cartridge is fired. That in turn requires knowledge of some basic terminology. This section defines essential terms and explains the process that enable ballistic identification. So there's no way around it. Every gun has its own fingerprint. The question is, how good is that fingerprint? Are they going to be able to get 100% match? I wish it was that easy. You know, you can serve a table, but the people have to come and sit down and eat. You know what I mean? And me, I'm not sitting at a table that's shoveling shit. But if you want to, go ahead. That's on you. Half-hour break. Thanks for the updates. I appreciate that. Okay. Examination of unfired ammunition. Examinations of unfired ammunition, both unfired cartridges and shot shells, proceed in much the same way as for fired cartridge cases and shot shell cases. The obvious difference is the absence of chamber and breech face marks and the possible presence of a light strikes from a firing pin. Identifications can still be made on extractor, ejector, and magazine marks. These marks are valid tool mark identifications. However, the significance of these unique associations is different. Based on these microscopic marks, it may be possible to state that unfired ammunition was loaded into and extracted from a particular firearm, loaded into and removed from a magazine integral to or associated with a given firearm. The reasons for the cycling of ammunition through the action of a firearm without firing may include a decision to remove a cartridge from the chamber as part of the normal unloading process, an effort to clear a misfire, and I thought that was interesting, an effort to clear a misfeed, a criminal unconsciously leaving courage marks by repeatedly cycling ammunition through the action prior to the commission of a crime, other reasons best known to a criminal prior to the seizure of a firearm by law enforcement. Even if an unfired cartridge or shot shell does not bear any microscopic marks of value for comparison purposes, the examiner can at least determine the types of firearms for which it is intended or with which it is compatible. So even if they can't find the thumbprint to say, hey, this was the specific gun, even on a bad marking, they can tell you what type of gun it was. So no matter what, that cartridge, if you put it in your magazine, it's leaving marks that are specific to that magazine. Now, if you load it into your weapon, don't fire it, load it into the chamber and extract it. Now you may have just left a fingerprint from that casing to your specific gun. If the markings are deep enough to where they can make a match. But regardless of that, according to this here, they don't need much to tell you what type of gun it was. Now we're going to read a case where they made a conviction here based off almost the same scenario that's going on with Delphi. And we are running out of time here. I think I'm going to go live again later, or I'm going to try to reach out to Frank and maybe I'll jump on with them when they get things a little more organized. Calm down, Dominic. Dominic says there is an inmate trustee that sits outside of his cell in isolation to have someone to talk to. Dang, I wonder if he's just spilling the beans. Shimona V says, Judge says she won't make a decision on ballistic today. There have been witnesses on the stand regarding moving him. Might be experts, some doctors or something, some psychologists. That might be who admitted stuff too. Yeah, that might be Dominic. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, she is the one posting some of the updates I received. I believe it was Angela. GP says, I just feel that he wasn't mental when he did this. So how can they say that now? He's mental. Of course he's going to be mental. Look what he did. Yeah, and they have to prove, was he mental at the time of the murder? But I think it is a big deal if they can prove he's mental now, because it sounds like now is when he's admitting to things. You know, you don't want him admitting to things if you have some kind of expert saying, yeah, I think this guy's out of his mind. V. Marie, I bet the defense shit their pants when he started talking. I bet you they did. I don't know. That's really good news to hear that if that's true, the fact that he's talking, yeah, that's great news. There you go, Ruckus. Just posted it. Beth says Angela clarified the statement saying the admission was made in the hearing today, not that Richard Allen made admissions. That's beautiful. Just let it all come out. Perfect timing, Ruckus.
Hey, bud. Sorry about that.
No, it's no worries, but I do have to take a quick little restroom break. Are you okay with that?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, just give me like 2 minutes, okay?
Yep.
Thanks.
All right, so you guys have all heard that it appears that Richard Allen talked to somebody at the facility, whether or not it was staff, medical staff, or psychiatric staff, another inmate. It appears he talked to somebody. The prosecution doesn't seem to be denying that, so I doubt it was an inmate. I doubt it's a jailhouse snitch. Prosecution's not denying that. Hello, everybody, by the way. It's going to be a busy day today. It's exciting that there's some movement on this case. Finally, I think this is awesome that we got some movement. But he may have either, if you look at what's been filed and what's going on, they wanted to, and they were able to get it approved to quash the mental evaluation that he had. Now, that may have been part of his intake into that facility. And if that's the case, if it was an intake evaluation, they'll have to leave it. That has to stay on record. But if it was a full psychological evaluation ordered by the state without representation, well, then they'll have to throw that one out. But the state can get another one. But what they're trying to do, it's obvious that he told somebody that he is involved. And I hope he's naming names. I know Sleuth agrees with this. Him and I discussed this months ago, that the next big thing that we'd see in this case would be him dropping dimes and taking a plea. He may be still yet. But just following up on what Sleuth just said, it's absolutely correct. They don't have to prove that he's crazy now. They have to prove that he was crazy then. So, and then he was a supervisor at CVS. It's going to be hard for them to prove that he was crazy then, that's for sure.
Ruckus, did you have a chance to talk with Frank a little bit more than when he jumped on there?
Yeah, I did. Just for a second, though. He said he's going to go live later on tonight. He said he has 7 pages of notes.
Oh,
so
shit.
so he's taking some good notes. But I don't know about you, Sooth, but to me, this is huge. This is, he's snitching. He has been snitching.
Yep. We called it.
Yeah, we talked about this months ago.
Yeah.
But in my opinion, this is not a jailhouse snitch, because otherwise the defense would be saying we can't trust whoever said this. So it had to be staff, either medical, psychiatric, or a CO or a supervisor.
Well, Dominic said usually in those instances they have somebody that kind of babysits Richard Allen, and he has a chance to communicate with that person.
Yes, I seen what he said, that it was a trustee, and I have never seen that. I mean, I haven't been in a prison or a jail in since 1995, 96 in that capacity. So back then, there definitely wasn't trustees in charge of inmates, especially he's in CM. He's in confinement, single cells, closed doors, no bars. They can talk to each other. The cells are right next to each other. They can all hear each other. And I'm sure he's catching a lot of shit.
Well, he needs to do his family and everybody a favor by giving the answers that they need. I think he still has an ounce of respect that he can hold on to, and if he could help this case, I don't think that the people would forget that. I think the families won't forget that.
Right. Let's see what Dominic says. The black dude that was walking outside of his court in a CO uniform with sergeant written on his back said, "There's a trustee inmate that is allowed to sit 2 feet from his cell to talk to him." That may be true, Dominic. I've never seen that. I've never seen that.
Be a good person to get that information out of him, slowly kind of chipping away at him.
Yeah, yeah. But also, what does he have to gain? That's what they do on the witness stand. What does that trustee have to gain? Is he going to get time off his sentence? If he doesn't want anything for his testimony, that looks better.
Yeah.
That looks better. And I didn't hear that. I didn't hear anything about a sergeant talking about a trustee. Where did you get that from, Dominic? I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just asking.
Did Frank touch on the admissions?
No. Mm-mm.
Yeah, that's the part I want to know more about.
Okay, so this guy was on the stand, Dominic? It was a sergeant from the prison that was on the stand? Because the only people that testified this morning that I'm aware of were called by the defense. And the prosecution is going to be calling witnesses after lunch. That's what I heard. I could have that backwards. Okay. So you got that from JLR. Okay.
Thank you. Just a little bit of conscience left. I believe he does. He needs to think about his own daughter, how embarrassing this is for her and her future. I couldn't imagine my daughter getting married and then a couple of years later finding out that I'm some horrible criminal. You know what I mean? That you've lived your life for over 50 years, and this is how you decide to do something like this to your whole, basically your rest of your family tree from here on out is going to be tainted. It's poisoned. You poisoned your tree.
Yeah, Dominic, JLR only lives about 20 minutes, 30 minutes from me.
You guys going to collab?
No. Nope. He asked me.
Did he really?
Well, he said, "Hey, let's get lunch and talk about doing something." Yeah, no. Not so much.
It seems like he needs some guidance.
Yeah, but dude, he's all over the place. You have to give him that much. He goes Idaho. It's all over the joint.
Yeah, I do give him credit. Just needs a little guidance. I like his pizzazz.
Yeah, I don't want anything to do with him because I don't want to get sued. He sues everybody, man.
Oh, does he?
Yeah, he was the most. You never heard of that? He was in prison, and he even sued Bill Belichick, the coach of the Patriots. He does all these frivolous lawsuits for these rich people that'll just pay him to do away with it.
Really?
Yeah.
He's in the business of suing.
Yeah. Yeah, he did it for a long time.
Interesting.
Yeah. But he does a good job at what he does. He's everywhere.
Arch says, if any statement includes the initials JLR, it shall be immediately thrown in the trash.
Well, there was other people in that courtroom, so we'll be able to check that out.
Yeah, I was hoping we'd get some more information from Frank.
Now, Frank said that the Cass County Sheriff threw Tobe under the bus.
Really?
He said, "Tobe told me in no uncertain words, I do not want Richard Allen in my jail."
I mean, it makes sense to me. I wouldn't want him there either, especially if I'm running that jail. That's a headache I wouldn't want.
Oh, my God, dude. And that is a headache. I don't know if they're set up. That's why he's where he's at. They're set up for that kind of stuff. They have medical staff right on that wing, psychological staff right on that wing, psychiatrists, psychologists.
Who flips the bill? Who flips the bill when something bad happens? Like they're trying to prevent him. I guess worst case is somebody killing him or him committing, offing himself. But who answers to that when something like that happens? You went out of your way to get him moved, and then something bad happens. Like,
Yeah.
It's too risky, I think.
Yeah, nobody wants that risk, to be honest with you. But I mean, sometimes you have to step up. But if he's not prepared for it, if the facility is not set up for him, then it's in his best interest to go somewhere else.
Dominic said he sued his mom and won.
Yeah.
Jeez, sued your own mom.
Dude, that's some funny shit.
Dang.
Now he was in prison for white collar stuff, fraud. You know, he's he's not a physical guy or anything.
He knows what to do with a pen and a piece of paper.
Well, he had nothing else to do, so you sit there and write lawsuits all day, and a lot of the times they just pay you off. It's cheaper than hiring an attorney.
All right. While I got you on here, I'm going to go over this case. That way I can get your opinion on it. This person's name is Gregory Jones. It's a short article. After a 9-day trial and 9 hours of deliberation in a circuit court for Montgomery County, MD, before the Honorable Judge David Lease, a jury has found the defendant Gregory Jones, 28, of Martinsburg, West Virginia, guilty of first-degree murder for the deaths of Ashley Dickinson and Joshua Frazier in Burtonsville, Maryland. He faces 2 potential life sentences plus an additional 40-year sentences. Sentencing is scheduled for March 25th, 2022. These are his charges here. First-degree murder for Frazier, Dickinson, conspiracy to commit murder, firearm use in the commission of a felony, So on February 15th, 2008, the bodies of Joshua Frazier and Ashley Dickinson, both Virginia residents, were discovered in Miss Dickinson's running 2013 Audi SUV at a home on Aldora Circle in Briggs Cheney. So let's go to the evidence here. Witness interviews and phone records revealed that Mr. Frazier had arranged to meet Gregory Jones, the defendant, in the area around the time the murders occurred, specifically a series of text messages beginning at approximately 1 p.m. So we got a phone involved, kind of like Delphi. Miss Frazier and the defendant indicate that the defendant owed money to Mr. Frazier and wanted to pay him back. Mr. Frazier indicates that he wanted to send someone to the defendant to pick up the money, but the defendant instead insisted on delivering it himself several times throughout the text conversation. At 1:17 p.m., the defendant texted Mr. Frazier an address to meet on Roby Terrace in Burtonsville, approximately a half mile from Aldora Circle, where the Audi was found. Phone records show Mr. Frazier's phone connecting to a cell phone tower in Southern Virginia and moving north into Maryland. Phone records show the defendant's phone connecting to a cell phone tower in Martinsburg, West Virginia, and moving towards, I don't know if that's Gaithersburg. Phone records also show Tyshawn Jones' phone connecting to towers in Charleston, West Virginia. Let's see here. Okay, here we go. I'm going to skip all this stuff right here. This is all just about the phone pinging and stuff like that. On March 5th, 2018, Montgomery County Police executed a search warrant at an apartment on Streamside Drive in Gaithersburg. The defendant was located inside the residence. Also located inside the residence was a phone that forensic analysis showed was in use on February 15th, 2018, belonged to the defendant, and contained a text message between the defendant and Mr. Frazier. A search of the defendant's phone revealed searches for Briggs Cheney, Fox News, and Fox News Silver Spring on the day after the murders. On March 6, 2018, law enforcement officers conducted a search warrant at a residence on Sanford Drive in West Virginia. The residence of Tyshawn Jones, his sisters, and his mother's. Police also found a piece of paper with Joshua Frazier's name written on it. Investigators found in a bedroom of the defendant's Social Security card, birth certificate, and an unspent 9mm cartridge. Investigators sent the spent 9mm shell casing found in the Audi and the unspent 9mm cartridge found at the Sanford Drive address to Alliance Forensics Laboratory in Fort Worth, Texas, for comparison. A forensic firearm and tool mark examiner conducted a comparison of the marks on the unspent cartridge. He opened that the marks on the unspent cartridge were left when it was moved to the chamber from a semi-automatic gun and then ejected from the chamber without being fired. He found that those same ejector marks were found on the shell casing, which were automatically ejected from the chamber after having been fired. In comparison of those marks, Mr. Ernest found that they were left by the same gun as the markings left are unique to each gun. These were the victims, but that's how they ultimately convicted him. Phone ping, messages on his phone, had the victim's name written down, and most importantly, the slam dunk 9mm unspent casing sitting in a home.
That'll do it.
It's enough.
That's plenty enough. There's actually precedents in the state. Let me find this real quick. Excuse me. There's a case in the state of Indiana that this individual, you see, it's in this other folder. They found casings at the crime scene where somebody was killed, right? I believe it was an AK-47. And then they found casings at the guilty person's house. They never had the weapon, ever.
I saw that. Yeah,
Yeah,
they're trying to overturn that case right now.
Yeah, they convicted him on it. He went
I
through the
have it.
appellate system. And
Here it
I think
is.
it was White. His last name was White.
Kenneth Bond.
No.
Or James Wagster. Hold on, let me pull it up. I have it right here. This guy?
Hang on, I had to minimize you for a second. No. Nope.
This is a similar case.
Yeah. But they never found the weapon, right? But they were able to tie those shells. One was found in his home, and the others were found at the scene.
Yeah, that might be a different case, but I did read that. I just read that yesterday, and I think that they're trying to get it overturned, right?
No, this one, he went through the appellate system, got a whole new trial, and got convicted again. So he's done.
It's solid.
Yeah. And
How do you explain it?
Yeah, the reason I'm mentioning it is because there's precedents. You know, people are saying, well, they can't do that. They'll throw it out. No, they won't throw it out because they've already gone through it before with this same exact thing. So there's no way that they use precedents a lot in court cases.
Here's the case of this is very similar. This is kind of the other side of the coin, more for the defense, but it also shows that the science is so good that it could get you freed. There was a case where because they have new technology now when it comes to extractor marks. It's more scientific. It's not just visual where they're using microscopes. They actually have something that's measuring the exact amount of elements that are there, and it can compare it to the other item. And they're getting people off the hook in some cases. But here's an example. James Wagster, who testified for the state about ballistics evidence, was never qualified by the state as an expert. We spoke to ballistics experts that questioned how it was possible to test for extractor marks, a microscopic piece of forensic evidence, with shell casings that had been severely damaged after being fired from a weapon. There was no murder weapon ever found. The evidence against Kenneth was based on matching extractor marks of expelled shell casings found at the crime scene on November 27th. Two cartridges found in Kenneth's room on December 5th. Wagster testified at trial that this matching process indicated that the bullets had been inside the same gun at one moment. But without a murder weapon, he was unable to demonstrate that the bullets had been fired from the same gun. In the 2008 case, Brown v. State, Wagner testified that he had not tested cartridges, live, or casings for extraction marks because he did not have a gun to match them. As a rule, we don't put them in. He said, of extractor marks in this context, this suggests that the type of extractor mark analysis he performed in Kenneth's case is fact unreliable. But that doesn't make sense.
Mm-mm. No, it doesn't. It's not junk science, that's for sure. I'll have to find this, and when I do, I'll email it to you.
That's the moral of the story right there. It's not junk science.
Yeah, no, it's not. But in this case, and it was in Indiana, they had ejection marks at the crime scene, and then they found either an unused round or a case at his home with the same ejection marks, and witnesses that say that he went there.
Yeah, because
So
it still proves that at some point you had the gun that committed the murder in your possession, which is still damning.
correct, and they never found, to this day, they never found this. They know it's an AK-47, but that's how they were able to prove to the jury that, what are the chances of this guy having two shell casings? One of them is used in a murder, and one's at his house. What are the chances of that?
Yeah, very slim to none.
Yeah, and Slim left town. So, very good case there. But it also, he appealed it, and it went back, and he got granted a new trial, and he got convicted again.
Yeah, so all those people out there that are kind of just throwing that out there like this information's not going to stick or it's not solid evidence. I tried to jump, I did my best research. The information will determine which side of that argument I'm on. And from what I was able to determine, it's good science.
It is good. It's not junk science, that's for sure. That's for sure. And those tool marks.
Oh, here we go. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I have some breaking information here. This is from CBS. Allen, looking gaunt, appeared in court Thursday in a yellow jumpsuit. During the hearing, defense attorneys indicated that Allen had made self-incriminating statements linking him to the girls' deaths. Prosecutor Nick McClellan agreed Allen had made admissions. However, Allen's attorneys argued the statements couldn't be trusted because of their client's mental state. They want him moved out of Westville Correctional Facility to a county jail for his mental health and well-being. His defense team suggested Allen has made inconsistent statements since his arrest and attributed them to the stress of his captivity and his increasing difficulty in communicating with his attorneys. Well, that's their job to spin it that way, of course. Interesting. Thanks, AE, for sending that to me. Amy, sorry.
Yeah, dude, this is, I can't wait for this afternoon. Because the state is going to put people on the stand that's going to say what he told them. So.
I know. And it's probably something very, very damning. And the only thing I can think about is all these people that are saying that Ron Logan is the guy on the bridge. And where do they go from there?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, they believe it. I don't think they're just saying it. They actually believe it. So where do you go from there?
You want to hang out and talk about information on who Richard Allen is as a person? Probably about 15 minutes.
Sure.
Okay, let me pull up all this information here. Oh, no, we looked online and it looks like Tony Klein and Richard Allen went to the same school around the same time. They bounced from Peru High School to North Miami, which is in Denver, Indiana.
Mm-hmm.
And they're listed. They're all listed, even Kathy Walker. So they definitely know each other. So I thought that was very interesting. Let's see here. On November 19th, 1991, he and Kathy Allen got married. They have one daughter together. 1994, Kathy gave birth to their daughter. 2003, he had a seatbelt violation in Miami County. In 2005, he had a speeding ticket in Fulton County. In 2006, he and Kathy bought a house in Delphi. The house is half a mile from Delphi Community Middle School and 2.5 miles from the Monon High Bridge. In 2011, he had a speeding ticket in Jasper County, Indiana. On November 19th, 2016, Kathy took to Facebook to share a video of him inside their car. In the caption, she said he fell asleep in the car while waiting for her to finish shopping at Von Moore at Castleton Square Mall in Indianapolis, Marion County, Indiana. In 2018, Kathy posted a photo of their daughter on the Monon High Bridge. In February 2018, he received his license as a pharmacy technician in Indiana, which will expire in 2024. December of 2021, he and Kathy were photographed in a bar in Delphi, sitting in front of a police sketch of Williams and German's killer. On October 26, 2022, Delphi Double Homicide Task Force detectives arrested him and booked him into Carroll County Jail. He was 50 years old when he was formally charged. On January 13th, 2023, he will return to court. So there's a little bit of information there. This is what I found online. This is the 1991 graduating class from North Miami High School in Denver, Indiana. And if you notice, you have a Ricky and a Richard here listed.
Mm-hmm.
And then you also have Kathy. So we know that they did go to school together and possibly even graduated together. But another interesting thing I found on the same website was this. So we have Anthony, who's Tony, graduating from went to North Miami High School, class of 1989. So they both went to the same school. They even have, I think, Richard Allen in his junior or sophomore year over at Peru.
Now, who's that Jerry Klein under him? Because his name's Jerry as well.
He goes by both. His middle name is Anthony. So he goes by Anthony or Jerry.
Or Tony.
Which is kind of, or Tony. Which is kind of funny because Anthony Shots, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I've always said that there's no way that these people don't know each other. You know, they have the same interests. You know, they all go to Logansport to hang out at the bars there.
And in Delphi, apparently. But according to somebody that went to school with both of these people, they know each other. When they were younger, they all had the same friends. Their parents knew each other, and they all hung out on 2nd Street, apparently.
So now what?
We got to prove it.
Yeah. Well, who said that they didn't know each other?
I don't think anybody said that they don't. I think it was more like, how do we prove it? How do we prove that these guys are connected?
Mm-hmm.
And I think too many people were leaning on what Kagan says, but I think he's oblivious to a lot of shit that's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And if they see him having access to potential victims of theirs, they're just going to be like, give me your phone. You know what I mean?
Mm.
You don't need to know what I'm doing with your phone. Just give it to me or I slap you or something, you know?
But how did they, here's my big question. They made the plans through the Anthony Shots account the night before for the girls to meet at the bridge, to meet Anthony Shots there. How did they communicate with each other? Were they together in person, do you think?
Yeah, I think so.
Because you think Ellie would know who he communicated with digitally if he called, or did they send smoke signals, carrier pigeons, what?
Just maybe the old school method, just talking in person.
Yeah, because that's their plan wasn't very good to start with. I don't think the plan was ever to cross that creek to where the crime scene was.
I think it was to cross the bridge, though. And I think that might even play into some kind of sick ritual that they were doing, you know, crossing the bridge.
Yeah. Well, I think the girls took off, to be honest with you.
Yeah, look, in that video, I always got the feeling that Abby was struggling crossing the bridge, and Libby was already like, "Come on," like kind of already on that trail. Like, let's get down. We got to go. We got to go. We got to go. But you know, it's kind of hard when you're struggling crossing that scary bridge, and you got somebody that's just determined to get you. You know what I mean? Coming right up from behind.
Right. Yeah, Rain Dancer, absolutely. The defense, they've started this a while ago, so the defense has known this. They've known this. So this is something that Richard Allen probably said before he got attorneys, A. And if they known about this, that's why they started with all this psychological stuff. Oh, he's not right in the head. He needs to be moved. Like moving him is going to make him suddenly mentally stable. It's just they're doing some good lawyering.
Yeah. And that's what you expect. And when it's all said and done, we can look back and say, hey, he had good representation.
And he deserves it. We all do. We all could be, in jail for something, but he's not acting like a innocent person. He never has been. From the time they book you in, they got 70 days to try you, but he kept postponing it. And if he was innocent, if I was in his spot, I was like, I don't care how many thousands of pages you have. Take me to trial now.
Yeah.
Or let me go. Right.
Yeah. Because the quicker you have it, the less likely they're going to gather information against you.
Sure.
Which is in your benefit. And it's why it's in the Constitution to have a speedy trial. You're not going to give them 10 years to go ahead and build a case and frame you. You know what I mean? If you know I did it, you should be able to show that to the world right now.
Mm-hmm. Yep. But he's not doing that. He's not acting like an innocent person at all.
He's trying to manipulate the system any way he can. He's taking his time. He's being patient. And it looks like he's trying to exploit any weaknesses that he can find until he realizes, the jig's up.
Bossy's threatening to hog tie me and send me down that river in a kayak. Don't threaten me with a good time. Good luck hog tying me. Good luck with that.
Yeah, just give him one of those hats with the beers in it. With the straws. It'd be good, man. And some sunscreen, on the nose and maybe the head.
Yeah, definitely the head. Good Lord.
All right. We're going to hang out another 5 minutes, Ruckus.
Okay.
I just want to check some of these messages. I got a whole bunch coming through.
Now that, I haven't checked my, I tried, today was bad. I was trying to not have my phone keep binging. And so me and Deb would talk.
I was watching.
And then somebody's like, check your phone. I looked down, it's like 36 messages. Like, holy shit.
Deb's like, did you freeze? Are you frozen? Like, no, I'm trying to figure out what all these messages are.
I have some other stuff going on too.
Yeah, you're going to be busy here this month.
Yeah, it's going to be a busy summer.
Yeah, we appreciate you guys for doing all that. We really do.
It's going to be fun.
Just film everything, man. Film everything, record everything.
I will. I might pick up a gimbal for my phone. I've seen too many videos in the woods where it's so shaky.
Yeah.
I might get one of those gimbals.
With a little stabilizer.
Yeah, but
those are cool.
I'm bringing my drone, so
really?
I'll fly that around too. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Steve's got one too, and my grandson was like, Dad, Puppy, you're going to crash them together in the midair. I was like, wouldn't that be funny?
It's good content.
Yeah, it is. Yep.
What time are you guys going live again? Just when it's all said and done, are you gonna go live on your channel, or are you gonna jump back on over there with Frank?
On Frank's. I'm helping Frank out with this so he can go in. Now, if he's done, if the trial court's over and all that stuff, I may just jump on for a minute. But because I've got this other shit I'm working on too. But if he's going to be at the court and I'm just placeholding for him, I'll help him out with that. I didn't know it was going to be for 4 or 5 hours today.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be a long one. I even went like 3 hours after he started his live stream, and it still wasn't long enough.
Yeah, it's crazy, man.
And we're going on 3 hours here too.
Well, it'd be interesting. I want to see who's testifying, saying they heard what,
Yeah.
because these jail cells also have audio in them. You know, they got a little plate with a speaker on it and a button. In case you're having a problem, you can mash that button and say, "I need help," or whatever. And it's two-way. They can listen in without the inmate knowing that they're listening.
Yeah, they should just record him nonstop.
I'm sure they are. In the wing that he's in, they may have even video in that cell. But he was on suicide watch. They're going to make sure he doesn't kill himself. That's why he couldn't have pencils and paper and all that, because he could hurt himself.
And if they transfer him and something bad happens to him, I just don't know who's going to be responsible for making that horrible decision, because that would be completely devastating to this case.
Wherever they put him, though, Sleuth, he's going to be in the same situation that he is now. They'll put him on a medical wing or something where he's isolated, and he's not going to get anything. They have him in a yellow jumpsuit, which is a psych suit. You usually have blue and red are the problem inmates, red dots. Yellow is psych, and then they have a different color, usually white for trustees. So
Wasn't
it
he
doesn't
wearing
matter.
yellow?
Yeah, I believe so.
Here, let me pull this up. Yeah, it looks like he's wearing yellow. What a sad sack of shit.
Yeah, POS. But I'm really curious to see how they got that information from him. Who did he talk? Was he talking to himself, and they heard it on the audio? But I highly doubt, honestly, that it was another inmate. I don't care if it's a trustee or not. I highly doubt it was another inmate.
And I wonder if it was him just trying to admit that he was involved, but he doesn't want people looking at him as a monster anymore. So he wants to kind of explain what he did, why he did it, why he didn't come forward. So maybe he's trying to minimize his involvement. Maybe he's at that stage.
Well, it's kind of odd that this is coming out, and the last time that Kagan talked was, "Hey, those aren't all my accounts. That's not all my stuff."
Yeah.
Right? So
And he was talking with McClelland.
Yeah. Now, I don't know if you heard me say earlier on Frank's, but, with all the Delphi detectives being there for the Delphi case at his day when he was going to be sentenced, they may have granted him immunity. That's why he hasn't been charged with Delphi. They may have talked to him and he got immunity.
Yeah, I still suspect his involvement with the search and all that had something to do. Even whether they found something or not, but I do believe they found a phone, and that's what led to Richard Allen. I think we're going to learn more about that too here.
Yeah, because like I said, Cake and Allen could say, "My dad did this," and they won't believe him. But if he says, "Well, this other person knows he did it too, I'm just not sure who it is." But if you find this phone, you'll be able to find who he is. And then he says the same thing. That has a little bit more weight to it.
All right. Well, I appreciate you jumping on, Ruckus, and giving us a little bit of information and joining me here.
No worries. Anytime.
And hopefully I can catch you later on Frank's. I'm going to be looking out for any updates, and hopefully I can catch you later.
Sounds good.
All right, guys, we're going to head out of here. I appreciate everybody who donated to the channel. We got Cindy, Leslie Kingston, Derek Farmer, my guy, Courtney, Cindy again, and Marbles. Thank you, guys. I appreciate everybody. Hit the like on the way out. Go subscribe to Ruckus's channel if you're not already subscribed. And we'll try to stay on top of this for you guys today.
Don't be a scrub.
Don't be a scrub. And don't take any wooden nickels either.
That's right. All right. We'll see you later, buddy.
Later, guys. Bye.